Good morning, family living. Today we are going to start discussing dating and mate selection. So, big question is, why do we date? There's three reasons why people choose to date. The first reason is socialization. Um, so, for socialization is so we can develop kind of appropriate social skills to practice kind of getting along with other people in different settings. Um, some people date for recreation, just to kind of have fun, enjoy the companionship of others, try new different activities, um, just to kind of have somebody to hang out with. And the third reason is for mate selection, to see others in many different settings and to compare the personalities and characteristics of many people, and then to finally choose that person that they hopefully want to spend the rest of their life with. Here's a smart person quote: all individuals have the right to relationships. The most lasting, meaningful relationships people can have are those that allow them to grow as individuals while sharing their experiences with others. Relationships mean compromise, but at the same time, doing what is best for you. So, just kind of something to think about and to reflect on, and just to kind of get you thinking about relationships, and how does that pertain to you? All right, so there's some theories of mate selection, and we're going to kind of go through these different theories. We have the theory of propinquity, the exchange theory, the complementary needs theory, and the time and place theory, or the happy collision theory, and then the filter theory. All right, so our first theory is the theory of propinquity, and this is where this theorist believes that we marry the people that we know. So, for example, if we only know people from our school, our work, our neighborhood, our church, then those are the people that we're going to marry. So, basically, is we're only going to marry the people that we surround ourselves with. Kind of makes sense. The next one, the exchange theory, is that we evaluate our worth and then we find someone kind of similar worth. So, for example, we're going to find people for us with similarities to us. So, kind of looks for looks, money for money, that kind of thing. Now, sometimes people will exchange or barter to kind of make up for an area. So, example, I will, let's say I'm a very good looking person and you're not a good looking person. But you're very rich. I'm willing to look past your not so good looks for your money. Okay. Or vice versa. It could be, whatever, totally, any situation. Um, and oops, let me move myself here. Sorry about that. And this is why it is not uncommon to see people getting married that look like a brother or sister. Kind of going back up to that first bullet point where we're going to look for somebody that's kind of similar to us, that look kind of, um, look like us. Here we go. Oh, move myself again. I'm kind of in the way here today. Now moving on to the complementary needs theory. We find people that complement our needs. So dominant people are going to find submissive people. Um, a nurturing person is going to find someone who wants to be mothered. So kind of that yin and yang thought process. I put the picture of the Grease movie on here. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but he was kind of a bad boy and she was kind of a good girl. So kind of like that opposites attract thought process there. All right, and then we have the time and place theory, the happy collision. So this is kind of a wordy one. So this one says, it talks about fate. And it says, we marry the person we are supposed to when the time is right. So it says, this theory suggests that we could have married many people many of the people that we dated, but the timing wasn't right. So this is against society's expectations that there are times in our lives when we should get married because that's the next step. So after college, after establishing our career, returning from military services, or whenever. People generally marry about 4 years after they begin to date on a regular basis. This theory also states that you will marry someone within a geographical area that you live in. Long distance relationships require more time and money. So this one, talking about the geographical area, kind of goes back to that first one that we talked about, how you're going to marry people that you surround yourself with. So also, I have kind of on the side here some just different statistics. The average ages for marriages in the US from 2018 to 2019. For men, it was 30. For women, it was 28. In Minnesota, in 1960, men got married at the average age of 22. For women, it was 20. In 2019 in Minnesota, for men, it was 29 and a half. And for women, it was 27, almost and a half. So you can see that as time has progressed, the average age for marriage is going up. So why do you think that is? In class, we talk about, people are wanting to establish their careers. People are wanting to travel more. They're just kind of wanting to do some things on their own before they rush and get married and all of those things. So just some things to think about as, we're kind of talking about this topic. All right, and then the next one is the filter theory. So this theory talks about how we filter out people that don't meet our criteria. Okay, so it's kind of like having a checklist. So they don't have the right color hair, they're not the right height, they're not the right age, whatever it might be. And then there's three types of filters. There's the biological filter, so your looks, your social filter, are they in the right social class? And then the psychological filter, the personality. So talking about the biological filters, most people choose the opposite gender, but we know that that's not always the case, and that's perfectly fine. We tend to choose someone close to our age, but again, that's not always the case. Most 22-year-old men are not looking for a 50-year-old woman, but again, that's not always the case. And we can rule out our relatives. That should be the case, hopefully. By law in Minnesota, it is the case. And then physical features are usually similar to ours. So for example, body type, weight, height, etc. So, those are just kind of things that we might not come right out and say that, oh, those are our criteria when you're looking for somebody. But subconsciously, you probably do have kind of a little checklist, filter list that you would have. Social filters, we often marry within our same social class or income level. There is an increased chance of marriage success when we stay within our class. Most people marry within their own religion as well. And we try to find someone of similar intelligence and education. So I have two kind of pictures here. The first one is from a show, The Big Bang Theory. I personally have never watched it, but from what I gather from the show is that the couple up here, they're both very smart individuals. And I don't know, from what I know of the show is that they're very happy, very successful in their relationship. Down below, I have from the movie, The Titanic. And if you watch the movie, you know that he was from the very low class. So he was in the bottom of the ship. She was from the very upper class, and those always make for really good movies, really good romance books, all of that, right? Very opposites attract. And sure, they make for good movies, but in real life, those can cause kind of some strains on the relationship. Also kind of marrying within different religions too, because that brings on a whole new set of could be conflict, I guess you could say, but definitely some different discussion points for sure, I guess you could say, into that relationship. All right, and then we have the psychological filters. The psychological filters are based on conscious and unconscious needs of people. These needs are based on childhood experiences, and people will often marry someone similar to the opposite sex parent. So basically, kind of what this is saying is when you were growing up as a child, you're going to kind of look for somebody. So for example, a little girl is going to kind of look to her father as a role model and when she's looking for a partner, a male partner, she's going to kind of base that off of what she learned from her father. And, how did her father treat her mother? And, how did her father treat her? And just kind of what she learned from that. And, that's what she's basically going to probably look for in a partner, whether she knows it or not. And that's kind of when you hear, people talk about a family cycle. So if that father was abusive, most unfortunately, she's probably going to choose an abusive partner as well. And that's why it's really hard for those cycles to break. Um, but it can happen. Those cycles can be broken, but it's very difficult for it to happen. And vice versa, then, too, for gentlemen with mothers and the female figures. Some other considerations, you need to determine if your personalities go well together. So look at that person. Do you guys mesh well? If it's very troublesome, toxic from the beginning, it's probably not going to get better as things go on. Some other aspects that you should consider: the amount of personal space that is needed. Is one person more clingy than the other? Does one need more attention than the other? The serious or the lightness of the personality. Do you guys mesh well together? Your interest in your hobbies. It's okay to have interests and hobbies separate from each other, but do you guys also have some shared ones together as well? Your desire for achievement. Do you guys both kind of have that desire to want to improve and achieve and to grow as individuals? Think about this person. Are they picky, meticulous, detailed, sloppy? And then think about yourself as well. Are you picky, meticulous, detailed, sloppy? And, if you're both sloppy, is that going to work? If one of you is sloppy and one of you is really meticulous, is that going to work? Just how are the two of you going to mesh together? Some other big questions. Oh, let me move myself here again. Does this person make you a better person? Because that is a really big, important question. If you cannot answer yes to that, then you really should consider if you should be in this relationship. Would you rather be with this person than any other person in the world? Because when you are choosing to date for mate selection, hopefully you're thinking long term and not just for the time being. And you want to choose somebody then that, again, is going to make you a better person and that you want to be with over other people. And then could you spend the rest of your life with this person? Could you spend the rest of your life without this person? If you could say, yeah, I could live without them, then do you want to waste your time with them? Do you want to waste their time with you? So just some things to think about. Oh boy. Okay, I'm really going to be in the way here. Let me go way up here. All right. Oh, well, I'll move myself then. All right. So some people confuse infatuation for love. So we're going to talk about the difference between infatuation and love. So I'm going to not read through all of these bullet points. You guys can certainly read through those. But infatuation usually starts, and is very common during your young teenage years. And it comes very fast and it grows really fast. So like that love at first sight. And um, it's usually based on like very shallow things, like, oh, he's so cute or she's so hot, those kind of things, but not really looking at the person at a deeper level. It can be based on really selfish things, also very possessive traits. Disagreements are going to be really common when you're in the infatuation stage and not in the true love stage. You might experience feelings of insecurity because, again, it's just infatuation. You are going to allow other people's opinions to matter. You might have lack of trust in your partner. Let's see. maybe based on physical enjoyment, a couple who finds themselves bored without physical stimulation is definitely in the infatuation stage. All right, so let's click on over to love and see if there's any differences. Love is going to grow slowly, and it typically begins as friendship, and it's going to last for a long time. So it's not going to, just be like this quick, oh, it just came out of nowhere and hits you, starstruck. Um, and you're going to look at that whole person, not just the looks, but their whole personality. And you're going to recognize that they have faults, but you're going to love them no matter what those faults are. It's not going to be this whole roller coaster of emotions as well. You're going to have, yeah, some ups and downs, but it's not going to be these big ups and downs. You're going to have fun times, and you're going to have common interests. You're going to trust them. You're going to work hard together. Uh, it's not going to be rushed, and it's just going to be very um, realistic. It's going to just be this nice, positive energy with it. All right, so again, here's like this little quote poem, I guess you could say. It says, love waits, infatuation takes. Love cares, infatuation dares. Love sympathizes, infatuation criticizes. Love chooses, infatuation uses. Love communicates, infatuation manipulates. Love understands, infatuation demands. Love is kind, infatuation is blind. Love appreciates, infatuation intimidates. Love accepts, infatuation rejects. Love is given, infatuation is driven. Love tries, infatuation lies. Love talks, infatuation walks. Love hears, infatuation fears. Love has eyes, infatuation denies. Love adores, infatuation keeps score. Love is cool, infatuation drools. So just kind of something to kind of compare the two, to kind of really see the difference up close between between the two of infatuation and love, and really how infatuation is really kind of surface level, immature, and love is deeper and kind of more mature. So um, that is it for this um, PowerPoint, and I will have a video on how to do the project for this unit, the Animaker virtual date. So thanks.